well, and focus
Absolutely.
on that. I mean,
Absolutely.
and so much is going well. I mean, so much is going well. I mean, I am sleeping fantastic. I mean, I wake up maybe once a night with a night sweat, but I know that by eating whole food, I sleep so much better. And that's huge.
Yeah.
I get like 8 hours of sleep a night.
Wow. That's fantastic. And whoever would have thought that the food that you're eating has anything to do with how well you sleep?
Right. Exactly. You wouldn't think that, but it does. I mean, I used to like, I would wake up at night and couldn't go back to sleep. Um, that was frequent.
Mhm.
Um, so, I sleep throughout the night. I do get up and use the bathroom and take my puppy out, and then come right back and go right back to sleep.
Wow. That's huge because sometimes just the act of getting up and going to the bathroom or taking the dog out or whatever
Right.
can, sometimes women just won't get back to sleep at all,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yep. Yep. And again, I'm convinced it's the food. I totally am. It's a not processed food.
Right, right, because that does mess with how well your liver is able to process things. That it's like filling that bucket, and that bucket, is just full of holes, and it's not going to be able to drain properly or whatever. Um,
Yes.
that's part of it when you eat processed foods, and so your liver's doing a lot of that processing of that stuff in the middle of
Yes.
the
Uh-huh.
night. And then
Yep.
that also affects cortisol and blood sugar levels. And all of that
Yes.
stuff raises body temperature, makes you uncomfortable, wakes you up. And that's, I mean, to me, that's a huge win, that to identify that connection, because, um, I mean, I've mentioned that to different, women over the years, and there's a definite disconnect there. You can't believe that it can have that kind of impact. It's more, yes, the hormones can be related. Stress can be related. Having a deficiency of some sort can be related. But the last place that people think, or don't think at all, is related is what they're eating.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's just, you don't know that there's that connection there. Or if you think there's that connection there, there's also a degree, and if somebody suspects that, they might not be ready to accept that it's related,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Right. Right.
to make the changes
Mm-hmm.
too.
Yeah, it's all connected to our guts, that's for sure. What we put in our body, there's no question about it. Like today, my bowels are a little bit jacked up, and it's
Yep.
because of what I ate. It's
Yep.
exactly, I mean, it's no surprise, you
Mhm.
know. So,
Yeah, that's like I said, that's a huge epiphany kind of moment for
mhm.
you, because between what you've learned in Brightline and what you're learning in here is that connection, identifying those connections. And that's also why the first few weeks there's such an emphasis on nutrition, because if we don't have that foundational piece in place, it's really hard to get the outcome, or the amount of the outcome that you want without it. Like I said, I can give women, herbs and hormones and this kind of thing, and someone say, yeah, it helps or it doesn't help, um, or it makes a huge difference. But if unless you're dealing with those foundational things, which is, nutrition and stress, emotions, all of that those are foundational, and those are a big focus I think, throughout this program. Yes, we deal with some of the hidden root causes, the hormonal blocks, and that's, I think, in about week 6. But even if we're trying to deal with those blocks, those undiscovered blockages to success, you still have to go back to those foundational pieces.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right. Right.
and it's just a course correction, you know, right now. I mean, these bumps in the road are going to happen, but it's recognizing them and doing just what you're doing. I have to go back to the beginning
Yes.
and do a reset.
Yep. Back to the basics.
Yep. Yep. Because that's what helped get you started on your path in the first place. And it's going
Yes.
back to that. And it's when you start skipping steps, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
is where those loopholes come in, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
to what you're doing. And, you know, and for some people, you know, it does come down to, you know, how you're wired, your personality, what kind of, you know, emotional stuff we've got that we're carrying along through life, and how many of those tools that we may need to continually implement as part of our daily practices.
Right. Like putting myself first, you know, like, you know, week 4, you know, the module 2. I mean, women, they just don't do that. Like, we're wired to not do that. And, you know, just like I said, I need to have a conversation with my husband about some things that are bothering me. And I just keep stuffing it. So stuffing it, again, it's going to affect my emotions. What am I going to do? I'm going to eat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're filling that void.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it is that not putting yourself first. And so there is a void there. Like, I don't have time for me, so I'm just going to do this.
Hmm.
And whether that's food, um, alcohol, shopping, you know, whatever it is that somebody's trying to fill that void, that quick fix, because at that point you just, you know, you go back to what a lot of us women do is, I don't have time for me, so I'm going to get this quick fix. Because if I think about working on my mindset, working on my stress, well, that, I feel like that seems like it takes more time. Well, if you think about it, how long did it take for you to go get that chai latte and come back to the house? Or how
Right.
long did it take for you to either shop online this day and age, or, you know, in the past, going to the mall or wherever somebody goes to shop? How much time did that? It's really not a quick fix, because how many minutes of time were involved in that? Did that take you 15 minutes, an hour, more? And that is self-care time that you could have had, you know.
Right.
And so it's taking some of these self-care tools that are suggested, or, you know, action steps here in the program, and taking one of those steps and implementing self-care.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Would that make a difference? And that's the question, you know, will that make a difference? That one, you can be more aware of what's happening, and two, have a healthier reaction to those moments in time of stress, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I love to do is I love to read.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just really do, you know, and I love to just read fiction. I love to also just love to read to learn. So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I love to read things that are more clinical, and I just enjoy that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't take the time to do that. Like, I'll just plop down on the couch in front of the TV. And I'm not saying there isn't a time and a place to watch to watch something that's really good. I mean, like The Queen's Gambit on Netflix. Oh my God. I mean, I've watched that twice. I'm in love with her. I'm in love with that series. And that made me feel really, really good. But I think because she was a woman that was extremely bright and she had defects, like she had problems, right? And she beat the grandmaster, she beat him. And so I'm not saying there isn't a place for that, but uh, I need to do things that fill me up,
Mhm.
that instead of just plopping down and just watching like whatever, or like you said, like shopping, things like that, or eating,
Yeah, exactly.
like yesterday, I planned to make some chicken and vegetable soup, and I did that yesterday. And I can't really say I enjoyed it. I was kind of in a hurry, like I threw it together before I went somewhere. But just I get enjoyment out of. I'm actually getting excited for the first time about good, healthy, whole food.
Mhm.
So spending time, me time, is also preparing something that will fuel me.
Yeah, that's big. It
It
is.
is. It is. Because in the beginning, I was really, really not excited about food. I was kind of like, yep, I'm eating some grilled chicken and some veggies. Whoop de doo. Like I just was not excited. And so I'm I bought a bunch of spices and just, trying to get more jazzed.
Mhm.
Dr. Heidi's kind of encouraged me to do that. So yeah, I mean, I want to do things that make me feel good.
Yeah, that's like a self-care experience in and of itself. It's a ritual,
Hmm.
like a self healing ritual because you're getting prepared to nurture your body with
Yes.
these healthy foods. And at that point, when you're doing that, you're not only appreciating how it's nurturing your body, but you're also nurturing your mind and your soul, and also you're getting a sense of what we are missing as a society, when we don't really truly get these nutrient dense foods and the flavors that
Yes.
you get from that, and what's lacking in the standard American diet too.
Absolutely. Yep. And like when I'm cooking it, my husband's like, "Oh my God, that smells delicious." And so like he eats it. He likes it. He thinks
Mhm.
it tastes great.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, what is your goal? Are you writing down the goals, short and long-term goals, what your challenges, successes are for the week? Are you utilizing the workbook in that way?
Yep. You know what? Laura, I need to print the workbook out, and I'm going to
Yeah.
do that. I'm going to do that this week. I'm going to get it printed out. Um, because I just haven't done that.
Hmm.
So that's a goal. I'm going to print the
Yeah,
workbook out. How about that?
that is a good goal.
Um, and then I will tell you from last week, I did get that milk frother, and I have frothed, probably 4 or 5 times where I've added the milk. But you know what? I don't even know that it's worth it. Like, again, I think I was looking for that sweet, that sweet. Well, you know what? Almond milk isn't just going to be sweet all of a sudden because I frothed it.
Yeah.
So I don't really know that it's going to be worth the added almond milk in my tea. But I did do that.
Yeah.
I tried it,
Great.
and I may from time to time try it again. Just for something different. So I did do that, and so for this week again, I'm going to print the workbook, get those short and long term goals written down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and The other thing is I'm going to start doing my journal again. So
Yeah, I think those are great goals to have for the week, because it may just give you that restart that you needed
yeah,
to kind of
and
get
and
off
then
that.
write my food down,
Yeah.
as well.
Mhm.
And in when I'm writing my food down, when I'm journaling again, I'm gonna just write about, well, obviously there's some prompts in the journal, so I'll be writing about how I'm feeling,
Right.
so I can kind of keep track about that if I'm feeling triggered.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm also going to have a loving conversation with my husband.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are fantastic goals to have. I think the workbook, some people, they, you do need to print it off and you need to
Yes.
write in there and keep it like a
Yes.
journal. Some people are going to do fine by reading it and saying, here's my successes, here's my goals, here's this or that for that week.
Yeah.
So you have to do which way is going to work best for you, because there's different ways that we all learn and implement things and what's going to work best. And the other important thing about that helps you see, over the course of the entire program, what your patterns were, where you were in the beginning, and where your mindset was, where your lifestyle habits were, and what progress you've made along the way. I mean, you've made huge progress.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think we emphasize sometimes too much where we aren't succeeding versus where we are succeeding. And there's this idea, I think, with women in particular, that we have to do everything perfect.
Yep. 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 And that doesn't work for me because then I just quit.
Right.
I've done that. I can't tell you how many diets I've done that. And, you know, I just don't want to do that anymore. I'm sick of that.
Yeah. And that's, how should I say it? We're dying for perfection.
Yeah.
It's like nobody's perfect. And I think we try to do everything. We try to be perfect 100% of the time. We try to make everybody happy. And in the process of that, it sets us up for failure, because none of us are perfect, and none of us are going to be successful 100% of the time. And,
Yeah.
it's always, like they say, it's always a journey. I mean, you're going to be, jumping those hurdles one right after the other, and then suddenly you trip over one.
Right. Right.
And do you get off the track at that point, or do you get back up?
Right. Right.
And then you say, okay, how did, when I jumped that hurdle, what made me trip up? What was it at that point? And trying to see, what you've learned along the way, you'll become clear on what's tripping you up.
Yeah.
To use that analogy of a track, but, jumping hurdles. I mean, that's kind of how I always kind of was going through life in grad school and all that. Okay, I got over this hurdle, I got to get over the next one. It's just whatever is the analogy or thing that is going to help you visualize. You're never going to get to the end of the race.
Mm-hmm.
You have to just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
There is no end. There is no perfect nirvana in the situation.
Right.
It's how you navigate it, really,
Yeah.
to keep you on track.
So Laura, I agree about that. I mean, I just think again, there's no way I'm going to be perfect. I mean, I'm 61. I'm overweight. I've been doing this for so long, and I'm not looking, definitely not looking for perfection. I just want to be real with it. I just don't want to set myself up anymore. I'm tired of that. I want to, I want to have success. And so,
Mhm.
you know, that's why I'm doing this program. That's why I'm doing the bright line eating, and I'm going to therapy.
Yeah,
Um, so, you know, I just, but I've got to be accountable. Like, I've got to do the work. Nobody's going to do that for me.
right.
Uh, so